One of the things I enjoy the most while making these videos is being able to tell you how I find equipment online, some of the hurdles I have to jump over, and then share my thoughts and feelings about that particular piece of equipment, but this one is different. The reason I say that is because I can't remember where I found it, when I found it, and where I got it from. Maybe by the end of this video, I'll be able to figure it out. What's up everyone, and thank you for stopping by. Today's project is this Craftsman mower powered by a Honda engine, and the problem isn't with the mower but with me, because if I could remember the information about this mower, I'd be able to tell you more about it, but unfortunately, I can't seem to remember anything about it. Now, while I rack my brain for information, I'm going to give it a good cleaning. That way we don't get dirt in places where it's not supposed to be, like in the fuel tank or the carb. Then, in the next video, we'll be able to fix its problem and not have to worry about contaminating the oil or gasoline we'll eventually put into this engine. Now, the top of the mowing deck is covered in dirt and debris, so more than likely it's got to be just as bad underneath it. To clean under the mowing deck, I'll have to lay it on its side, so I want to know if there's any oil or gasoline in it, otherwise I'll have a huge mess on my hands. Now, after checking the oil, it doesn't even show up on the dipstick, so I might have already drained it. If the mower was ran like this for a long time, the engine might have been damaged, so let's hope I did drain it and just forgot that I did it. After removing the gas cap, it's bone dry in the fuel tank, and that means it hasn't had any gasoline in it in a very long time, so the risk of spilling any oil and gasoline while cleaning it is very low. However, after taking a look under the mowing deck, I don't see any grass clippings, just a lot of spider webs, egg sacs, and bits of leaves caught in them. Even though I don't have to clean any of the clippings off, I still want to get rid of the egg sacs and the leaf litter. Now, I was able to get rid of most of the debris and cobwebs, and anything else that might be hanging on, I'll have to physically remove by hand. That's when I ran into a huge problem. I was removing a large clump of fibers near the transmission, and I was able to finally get it free, but on closer inspection, it turns out that clump was able to somehow wrap around the oil seal, which I unfortunately pulled out. But I won't worry about this issue at the moment, and I'll deal with it in a later video. So what happens if I just try and only spray away the dirt from the top of the mowing deck without any scrubbing? Well, as you can see, the majority of the dirt is gone, but there's still some that won't come off. This dirt has a way of sticking to the paint and simply won't come off unless you scrub on it. The other option would be, of course, to spray water on it for a very long time, or of course, use a pressure washer. But if you don't have the time or the pressure washer, scrubbing it is the next best option. Now, the same applies to the dirt on the wheels. No matter how much water you spray on it, it simply won't come off, and that means you're going to have to put some effort into cleaning it. Now, you don't have to do a full detail like an automobile unless that's what you want. Just a little bit of scrubbing will do wonders to remove a lot of the dirt. So after our initial rinse to remove the majority of the dirt, it turns out the paint is in really good shape, which means more than likely it hasn't been left in direct sunlight for a long time, but by the way it looked before the rinse, I don't think it was undercover either, but it's held up surprisingly well. When I clean these mowers by hand, I typically start at the top and work my way down. The strange part is that when I use a pressure washer, I don't use this method. The reason is the pressure washer can be very damaging to stickers and any fragile parts on the mower, so I just spray it whichever way is the most convenient. If you're not careful, you can easily debadge a mower pretty quickly. Now, I have plenty of videos where I use a pressure washer on some of the mowers, and to be honest, it's just too much force sometimes, so I have to stay several feet away from it, which kind of defeats the purpose for using it. Now, you don't have to use an old toothbrush, but if you have one lying around, it's free to use when compared to going to the store and buying a small cleaning brush. The other reason is that I find that the bristles on the cleaning brushes don't hold up as well, and the handles aren't as strong, so they have a tendency to flex when I put a lot of pressure on them. For some reason, this side of the engine always seems to be dirty, and I think it's because they leak a small amount of oil from the governor shaft. I've seen some of these leak badly enough that they might need to be repaired before they get put back to work. This side is also a bit harder to clean because the oil seems to somehow be stickier than normal too. If there was ever a good place to use a pressure washer, this would be it. Another reason why I don't like using the pressure washer for cleaning lawnmowers is because of the wand. What I mean by that is I can't get close enough to it to see what I'm actually doing, so it makes cleaning it really tough. I would compare it to stick welding, but the electrode is 3 feet long, which would make it hard to see what you're welding. If I do decide to start using the pressure washer again, I want to get a shorter wand so it makes it easier to see how well I'm cleaning it. In the meantime, I did get some other brushes that are a lot larger, so it should make cleaning a lot faster. After getting several recommendations on cleaners, I also have more options when it comes to the different types of detergents and degreasers I have on hand, so it should make things a lot easier for me. I hate to say it, but when I write my scripts for my videos, sometimes it happens over the weekends, which takes more time because I basically have other things I need to do. The good part is that I've had more time to rack my brain when it comes to where I got this mower from, and I think I finally found the answer. One of my friends gave me the name and number of someone who was looking to unload a lot of equipment. I got in contact with them and made arrangements to meet up with them at their home. For those of you who have seen my videos, you'll know that I don't really care for these types of interactions, but sometimes it can't be avoided. When I arrived at their modest home in the older part of town, it was about evening time. The gentleman was very nice, and they turned out to be an aerospace machinist, which is very similar to the kind of work that I do, so we had a lot in common. After talking with him for a while, he finally showed me the equipment, which consisted of 3 mowers and 1 very old edger. I don't remember what all the brands were that he gave me, but one of them was an older Honda with a locked-up hydrostatic transmission, and of course this Honda-powered Craftsman. I think in the future I'm going to have to make tags for the stuff I get for free, that way I can keep the information straight for each item. Not that it matters, but it might be interesting to know. From what I can remember, I don't think I've looked at any of the stuff this gentleman's given me yet, aside from this one of course. To be honest, I seem to remember single items a lot better versus when I get a large quantity like this situation. I don't think it's strange, in fact, I think it's pretty normal. I would compare this situation to making friends with a single individual versus the family next door. You might not remember everyone's name in the family, but I think you have a better chance of remembering the name of a single person you met earlier that day. Besides this Craftsman mower, I'm very interested, at the same time dreading looking at that Honda with the transmission issue. The reason is I've never worked on a hydrostatic transmission on this style of Honda before, so I can't wait to inspect it, but at the same time, if it turns out to be a serious situation, I don't think I'll be able to do anything for it. The best I can hope for is to bypass the drive system so it can still be used as a push mower. From what I remember, when I picked up this mower along with the others, they were sitting outside against the house. Their backyard wasn't all that big, but the back of the house was dominated by the neighbor's giant tree, so most of the yard was always in the shade. That's why there was very little sun damage to the paint or the plastics. Unfortunately, it was rained on and it collected a lot of dirt from where it was sitting, but to be honest, this mower is in really good shape, so I hope to get it working again. Even the wheels and tires show very little damage or even wear to them, which is a huge change from what I normally see. In the worst case scenario, this engine might be damaged beyond repair, but I'll have the rest of the mower ready for another engine, and if that doesn't work out, I can always put it on my curb for someone else to try and fix it. After removing the cover for the drive belt, it's really not that bad underneath here. There's obviously a lot of dirt that I'll have to remove, but luckily it's just dirt and not oil, so it's really easy to clean. This also gives me a chance to inspect the drive belt, which looks to be in really good condition, so as long as the transmission is okay, it should work just fine. I just have to remember to replace that oil seal that came out earlier. My main goal with every mower is to try and fix it and get it working the best I can and the way it's supposed to from the factory. But I hate to say it, sometimes that doesn't happen. Either the mower is just too far gone or it's not worth fixing, and if that happens, I wouldn't get too torn up about it because there are plenty of other mowers out there to work on. I know the water hasn't dried off of it yet, but even with it wet, I can see that the paint isn't faded like so many that I often get. Only the front tires have some wear to them, and as you saw earlier, the mowing deck, although missing a lot of paint, is in decent shape for being 11 years old. Overall, this is a great mower, and I have to thank the gentleman for giving it to me. Hopefully in the next video on this mower, we'll see if we can get it started, and if not, we'll try to figure out why. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate your time here. Please feel free to ask me any questions about this project or about your own projects, and I hope to see you in the next video.